What do I do when I feel unfocused or overwhelmed? There are a few things. First, I have a short checklist. Am I eating enough? All right, so it's very fashionable with intermittent fasting to skip breakfast, skip that meal, skip another meal. For myself, I've realized unless I am in ketosis, unless I am on a ketogenic diet or fasting or have ketones in my blood, which is an alternate fuel to glucose, I need to eat. And of course you can supplement with exogenous ketones, but am I eating enough? If I skip breakfast and it's 1 p.m. and I haven't had lunch and I'm feeling unfocused or overwhelmed, I probably don't need to sit there and journal on my existential dilemmas. I need to eat some fucking macadamia nuts and maybe have some beans or salad or something like that. All right, so simple, simple, simple. The second would be, am I consuming too much caffeine? Real simple. For me, if I'm feeling anxious, overwhelmed, very often, if I want to achieve a more Zen-like state, there are at least 2 things I can do. And one is meditate twice a day, which I like to do. It doesn't always happen. Meditate twice a day and do all of these other things related to cultivating peace of mind. The second one is stop consuming so much caffeine. All right, real simple. Then last are a few tactical and strategic questions. And being overwhelmed and unfocused are quite different things, typically. Sometimes they come along together. There are 2 questions, or I should say 2 pairs or groups of questions that I use a lot. The first one is an 80-20 analysis, and there are 2 questions as part of that. And I put this on paper, always on paper, because I want to trap my thoughts on paper to see if they're holding weight, to see if there's any insight, to see what is ridiculous. Maybe I have worries that once I put them down are really unfounded and kind of ludicrous. The first question is, what are the 20% of activities or people that are producing 80% or more of results and positive emotional states that I want? Positive emotional states part 2. All right, so you spend 1 or 2 pages on that. The second part is the opposite. What are the 20% of activities, responsibilities, or people that are producing 80% or more of the pain, the headache, and the negative emotional states that I prefer not to have? Do another page or 2. And then the last question, if you're engaged with a specific project or relationship, could be anything. It's very simple. What would this look like if it were easy? Very much if we're type A personality, we've competed in school, we've competed in X, we've competed in Y and Z. We are trained by ourselves to believe that if we're not redlining, if we're not overcome with effort, that we're not doing a good job, we're not trying hard enough. And I think that often leads us to seek complicated paths with many, many moving pieces. So what would this look like if it were easy? So for instance, if I'm having trouble with a book and I have 3 months left to write it, I'll ask myself, what would this look like if it were easy? What if I had to finish this book in a week? If I had a gun to my head, or a gun to my dog's head, poor Molly, and I had to save Molly, what would I do? All right, you have a week, that's it, period. How would you write this book? And that gets rid of a lot of fluff. And I start to say, all right, well, how could I use money instead of time to fix this problem? How could I ask other people for help instead of trying to do it all myself in this situation? What would this look like if it were easy? And you can find a lot of gems that way. And just expect 95% of what you write down is going to potentially be ludicrous. And you should come up with the absurd, right? Don't edit when you're putting stuff down. But within that, you might find 1 or 2 things and you're like, that's it. Now I can save 80% of my headache, 80% of my angst, because I don't have to do it the hard way. And then you can find an elegant solution that produces an even better product, even better outcome. So those are a few of the things that I regularly do when I'm feeling overwhelmed or unfocused or distracted.